And here we have a Cobra 2000 GTL. It's nighttime, so only a little bit of locals talking on here. No skip. It's after the skip hour. Now this is not so much on the radio. It's something I see all too frequently, and it's improper packaging. Now, this time, it wasn't the customer's fault. He took his radio to the UPS store, and UPS packaged it for him. They wrapped it in bubble wrap. I think it had like 2 wraps of bubble wrap around it, and put it in a perfectly sized box. I have absolutely no problem with the box size that they used. It had more than probably 3 inches on along all sides, which is ideal. The more space between the edge of whatever you're shipping and the outside edge of the box, the better. The problem is what they used for void fill, and what they used for void fill was packing peanuts. I will say it now, I've said it before, and I will say it again in the future. Never, ever, 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 ever use packing peanuts when you're shipping a radio. Unless you all but step on the damn things and crush them into the box. I mean, the problem with packing peanuts is they're light and fluffy. They're fine for shipping light and fluffy items. When you're shipping something heavy like this radio, and this radio's not that heavy. I mean, this is a solid state radio. Granted, it's a base station, it's got some weight to it, but compared to a tube type radio, this doesn't weigh an excessive amount. And it's not, it's a plastic faceplate. It's not like the old ones built, basically out of tank armor, plate steel. I mean, my God, some of the old radios, man, you could literally, quite literally, use them as a boat anchor. They weighed so damn much. But in any case, I'm sure when they packaged it, they put the packing peanuts in there, and it just perfectly filled the box. But the first time this box took any type of hit, and I'm not talking about the box being thrown or dropped extreme distances. It doesn't take much to break down packing peanuts. They're very fragile, and the problem is packing peanuts don't recover. Once you crush a packing peanut, it's pretty much crushed, and they disintegrate, and then you don't have packing peanuts anymore. You have packing peanut dust. And packing peanut dust does not do anything for protecting your radio. So, they had 2 wraps of packing or bubble wrap around it, and then used the peanuts to fill. And what happened was the packing peanuts got crushed, because when I opened the box, the radio was no longer tight inside the void fill. It could slide around. Well, packing peanuts can move out of the way because they're small, and the radio shifted its way to the outside edge of the box, and it took a hit right here. And luckily, that's all the damage that was done, but it folded. If you look at that, you can see how it's bent over a little bit, and it damaged the chrome right along this outside edge just a tiny bit. But this was a perfectly beautiful radio before UPS got their hands on it. And I'm not just going to fault just UPS. I've seen it with FedEx, I've seen it with DHL, I've seen it with the Postal Service, and it's not the carriers. It's not that, mishandling in transit. This was just mispackaged. And like I say, this wasn't even the customer's fault. Now, it was UPS's fault because, like I say, they are the ones that physically packaged it. But, so, when you're packaging stuff like this, try and use, I always tell people, use a dense packing material. Now, I personally, anybody that's ever received anything from me is probably quite familiar with this stuff. It's this foam that I get. I get it in all different thicknesses. You can see this sheet's made up of what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. No, say this one's made up of 6 layers. But I get it in several different thicknesses, and I get it for free. It doesn't cost me anything. I'm blessed with a brother that works at a manufacturing plant that throws this shit out by the dumpster full. And when I found that out one day, I was like, oh no, you can't have that anymore. Just start bringing that shit home. So I get this stuff literally by the truckload, and I've got one attic's completely full of it. I mean, I've got just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sheets of this stuff. Any nook and cranny I can find anywhere, because I'm afraid to, my free source will eventually dry up one day. Just noticed the counter's off there a little bit. But like I say, but this is a perfect thing. Now, granted, it doesn't get much better. Actually, this is probably the absolute best thing you could use because it's it's not so rigid as to if the box gets dropped, this is going to take all of the force, the radio, and get damaged. You can see it's got it's got give to it, but not a lot, and it recovers because it's not the or it's a it's like an expanding type foam, or what do you call it, extruded, but really good stuff. You can literally stand on this stuff, and within a second it's back to its normal shape. So that's ideal. Now you can use other things. If you go to the hardware stores, most of your big box stores, turn this volume down here. If you go to the big box stores like around here, Home Depot and Lowe's, actually a lot of them carry boxes. So if you need a box for starters, that's a good place. Now, around here, I'm trying to think, because I get my boxes from Uline in bulk. But I think it's Lowe's only has single wall boxes. If you're shipping a heavy tube type radio, and it wouldn't hurt on something like this, I think it's Home Depot has the double wall boxes. So the thicker the walls of the cardboard, now that increases your shipping weight because the box starts to get really heavy, but the thicker the box, that's just more protection for whatever it is you're shipping again. But something else you can get at Lowe's, Home Depot, actually almost any hardware store of any size, is foam sheets. Now, it's not this type of foam, because this type of foam, if it catches on fire, I'm sure is quite deadly, the gas. But they make builder's foam. It's styrofoam, actual styrofoam sheets. They come in 4x8, and you get them, I think, in 4x10 and 4x12 sheets in some stores. But you can get, and a lot of times it'll have some type of like vapor barrier across it, a thin plastic sheet on either side. Doesn't cost that much. And I know you're probably thinking, well, I've only got a car. How in the hell am I going to carry a 4x8 or a 4x10 or a 4x12 sheet of styrofoam? You don't have to. Just take a simple, little razor knife or a pocket knife or anything with, something like this. When you get out in the parking lot, just score the surface. Unlike this stuff that's very flexible, but, just score the surface. And unlike this one where it won't rip, that styrofoam will snap. So you don't need to go very deep. Just lightly, score the surface and bend the sheet, and you can break it down into a more manageable size. If you don't want to do that, you've got other options. You can do crumpled newspaper. Actually works just fine, but crumple the paper up tightly. Don't make nice little fluffy balls. So in other words, don't take a sheet of paper and just kind of go and expect that to do anything. No, you want nice, dense balls. That's again, dense. You don't want this to really get crushed anymore in transit. You want it to have a little bit of give, but that's it. And it should be able to, that little bit of give, it should be able to recover. So, tightly but wadded up paper works just fine. I know people have shipped radios back and forth to me from Washington State and California and Maine and Florida, Texas, all over the place. No problem. But just take care when you're packaging stuff. And if you go to the shipping store, be it FedEx, UPS, or wherever, if your local copy center, does shipping and whatnot, when you see them getting ready to pour packing peanuts into your box, stop them. Because if it's got any weight to it, there is a good possibility something like this is going to happen. Now, like I say, it's a shame. Excuse me. It's a shame this happened, but luckily it's only this tiny little corner here. So there you go. And as you can see, it's Cobra 2000. Like I say, it was in great condition. Was sent in. Only thing that's been done to it is an electrolytic capacitor change, a transceiver alignment, and re-greased. Took the heat sinks out, cleaned everything up, and applied new heat sink compound to all of the semiconductors. And basically, that's it. Other than that, it's just as I received it. It's a good working radio in really nice condition. And it was in there, at this angle you can see a little bit more, there's a little crack in the chrome right there. But, it was in even better condition. So, there you go. There's just a few tips on packaging, your radio, or it can be anything. It doesn't need to be a radio necessarily. It can be a book. A book's not going to get damaged, but anything. The heavier the item, the denser the packing material. That's the whole key to getting stuff shipped safely any distance. Heavier the item, denser the packing material.